Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Davy Wavy, here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 1 of What If Himawari Was Older? I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So, we begin. A lady with short, purplish black hair stands on a cliff, her feet sticking to the wall as if it were the floor. She seemed to look at her surroundings with sadness, as she finally took in the monument which was so important to her home village, with the faces of all of their previous leaders all engraved in stone. It was supposed to be immortal. Yet at this very moment, it all crumbled and fell around her. The lady we speak of straightened herself and took a deep breath. Her name was Himawari Uzumaki. "I didn't think you'd go this far, Kawaki," said Himawari with a solemn voice. Across from her was a man, his hair in 2 colors, growing naturally that way. This man, Kawaki, held a pure black staff in one hand, lifting his hand in front of his face to reveal markings on his skin, stretching from the back of his hand all the way to his eye. Kawaki regarded Himawari with an intense but calm expression. "I'll send you where I sent your father, Himawari. It was always gonna end this way. The age of shinobi is over." The man responded in a deep voice which held absolute certainty. The mark on Kawaki's hand would glow a blazing red color, covering every inch of his mark in a dangerous glaze which shone with powerful energy. On the opposite side, Himawari's solemn look turned to determination. She tightened her headband which wrapped around her forehead and let out a bright smile. From her right hand, black markings rapidly spread out, turning a deep blue as they traveled up her arm and onto her face. Her eyes went from a beautiful blue to a pure white as the veins on her face widened. Then those eyes gained tint once again, blue and yellow, forming into a lotus flower symbol around her pupil, her sclera also turning a dangerous black. The energy that irradiated the air was dangerous and dense, as if she were rising up to the challenge. "You're forgetting one thing. This shinobi is still standing." At that very moment, both fighters ran forwards and clashed, causing massive destruction around them. Himawari's hands glowed with cyan blue energy that hit the black staff, causing a shockwave which blew both fighters back. They both landed, then rushed at each other again. Energy spiraled around Himawari's hand. Kawaki's staff turned bright red. The 2 attacks hit one last time. Then the world went black. A younger girl with blue eyes ran along a forest, dodging the trees and bouncing around at blinding speeds. 2 other blurs dashed around with her, one reddish pink while the other a silverish blue. The 3 stopped at a small clearing, and a large bear was pushing down trees in front of them. This large, hulking beast was their target. From all 3 of their earpieces, the voice of a man came through. This was their sensei, Konohamaru. "All right now! Jump him, team!" All 3 ninja jumped into action. The first one to move was the boy with white hair and skin. His name was Mitsuki. He had stretchy hands, and he used these to attack people. Attacks which he showed by punching the ground. His limbs extended, breaking through stone and tunneling through the ground. Like hidden sharks, these hands traveled the ground and reached the beast. The hands wrapped around the hind legs of the bear, pulling it down and alerting it of their attack. This caused it to dip into the ground and growl loudly. "Got him!" the young man exclaimed in a happy but serene voice. He sounded pleased with himself, though the others were a little more than confused with his behaviors. "Next!" was yelled by a short girl with black hair and eyes. Her pouches produced kunai and shuriken, which she threw with deadly accuracy. They arced through the air and landed on the front paws of the large bear. The hulking beast recoiled in pain, standing on its back paws which were held by Mitsuki, and due to this, it was pushed entirely off balance. To the side, the girl with black hair silently celebrated to herself, muttering something about looking cool under her breath. When she noticed that the others were looking at her, she stopped suddenly and pushed up her glasses. Her name was Sarada Uchiha, and according to her, she would be the next Hokage. "Now, why are you looking at me though? Go, Himawari!" Said girl sprung to action. Like a blue blur, the girl with jet black hair rushed forwards and planted her feet on the ground. Her eyes would lose their blue color and turn a white color, as if deleting her pupils. The veins around her eyes widened and bulged. "Lock on!" Her hands were outstretched, creating a straight line. Her eyes locked onto the bear as she envisioned the 8 trigrams in her stead. Her personality had seemingly changed, her gaze dangerous and determined. "Byakugan!" The girl began rotating, delivering multiple quick strikes at once against the hulking beast's chest. 2, then 4, then 8 and 16. The large bear recoiled and fell back, landing unconscious on the ground. 8 trigrams! 16 palms! After a second of tension, waiting as if the bear would stand up again, the team breathed out in relief. Near the bear, Himawari blinked for a while, before seemingly snapping out of her trance. She looked around, almost as if she were embarrassed for having lost it. The team landed around her, with the largest man, their sensei, clapping for them. "Great job, Team 7. Each day you make me prouder. Now let's package this guy up and you can all head back home." The team was now standing in the Hokage's office. In front of them was a man with golden hair. His posture was somehow imposing and friendly, all at the same time. This was the current leader, everyone's personal hero, Naruto Uzumaki. He looked at Team 7, scanning each of their faces, until his beautiful blue eyes landed on a pair that was exactly the same as his. Those other blue eyes, Himawari's, stared right back. This was her father, and unlike certain other probable anime protagonists, Himawari and her father actually got along great. The girl with black hair was not one to hold grudges, and she saw how much the old man tried. After the whole team finished giving their action report to their Hokage, they all went to leave. However, Himawari felt a hand on her shoulder. She looked up to the owner and found her father. "Himawari, stay for a bit, okay?" said Naruto, to which Himawari nodded. They both sat down and just talked. "You've grown a lot. It's your birthday today, and I still remember when I was your age. Things for us were so different back then." Naruto looked tired. There were bags under his eyes, and it was obvious that he hadn't slept in ages. Yet he still tried to look strong for his daughter on her birthday. "Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know I'm always busy, but I promise to make it home tonight. Believe it. Happy birthday, Himawari." Himawari's face lit up with a smile as she hugged her father. Despite her nonchalance and almost naive personality, she was still just a kid who wanted to make her father proud. She hugged her father one more time before starting on her way out. "Thank you. See you later, Papa." And like that, she left her father to his job. The next time we see our black-haired heroine, she was standing in front of her home. It was nearing nighttime. She walked up to her door and entered her house. Her look was simultaneously happy yet forlorn. It was her birthday after all. Even then, she didn't know if her father would be there. Sure, he had promised, but he was the Hokage. It was something she knew and understood. She only wished her brother would understand. Right on cue, she heard a defiant cry of rebellion from a blonde rapscallion that dashed out of the door. His young legs were not carrying fast enough to escape their frosting-covered mother, who easily caught him. "Come on now, little Boruto. You can't do this every time your father comes home. He's trying really hard, okay?" The young man could do nothing but complain and whine as he was dragged back inside by force. He looked almost like a carbon copy of her father, except maybe without the horrible haircut. This was quite funny to the tired Himawari, who followed after them with a happy look. Their night from there was one filled with happy noises which fluttered all around the Uzumaki household. It was rare for their father to be so free, so they made the most of it. Himawari even got to help in the making of her own cake. Whether that was because her brother and father were lazy would not be determined at that time. She was so happy she didn't mind. Then came Himawari's favorite part, eating the cake. The family gathered around the young lady with blue eyes. They sang her many happy birthdays and the cake was put right in front of her. Then, as her father went to start clapping, something happened. Naruto made a funny face and then brutally bursted, like a balloon full of smoke which dispersed into air and chakra. For a second, no one could speak. But the first one to snap was the younger blonde. Boruto Uzumaki, whose quick temperament was always a second away from triggering, stomped over and stomped where their father had once been. His red-faced anger was very loud and volatile. "Stupid old man! You always screw things up!" Himawari had yet to say anything, simply looking at her birthday cake with a solemn stare. She didn't move or emote. All the anger in the room seemed to come from Boruto. Or at least that was until her mother raised her voice at him. Stern, but not angry. Boruto! Don't say things like that. Your father tries very hard. He has to take care of everyone in the village, you know. Well, he can't take care of us. How is he supposed to take care of an entire village? The blonde boy fired back, tears welling in his eyes. Sometimes I wish I didn't even have a father at all. Maybe if Dad were to grow up without a father figure, he'd understand. The room was dead silent. That silent declaration, like a declaration of war, had dropped a bomb in the living room and left everyone shell-shocked. What happened next was a blur to Himawari, who just sat in front of her cake, still shocked at how her day had spiraled out of control. She could hear her mother raising her voice, and Boruto stomping out of the room. All Himawari could do was stand up and walk to the entrance to their house, where she diligently sit and wait for her father. Boruto had stomped up the stairs, grumbling and complaining about absent fathers and whatnot. This eventually led him to his father's room. He wanted to rebel, to lash out for the sister who he considered far too forgiving. That was when his eyes landed on a piece of orange cloth. Its gaudy and bright color was, in a way, indistinguishably Naruto. No one else would dare wear that, especially as a ninja. The entire thing screamed, "I'm over here! Please kill me!" With that thought, he grabbed it. Perhaps getting rid of it would prove his point? The young Boruto slowly walked down the stairs, sneaking his way past the kitchen. He was obviously not being all too sneaky, but after the dinner, no one really wanted to talk. So as he reached the corner near the door, he encountered someone. At first he thought it would be his mom there to annoy him, but at a closer look, he noticed that his sister had sat near their house's entrance and had fallen asleep. Boruto, he felt bad. Even to his young mind, birthdays were very important, especially since it was Himawari's first birthday as a ninja, and his blow-up had clearly soured her mood. He couldn't help himself, his selfless young mind caring more for his sister than petty revenge. As he would grow older, maybe that would change. But as a kid, and at this very moment, Boruto cared more. He grabbed Naruto's old jacket, the one he'd wanted to throw out with the trash, and gently draped it over the sleeping Himawari. It fit almost perfectly around her shoulder, and she subconsciously wrapped it around herself. Perhaps there was still hope for the Uzumaki family after all. At the dead of night, a man with a black cloak walked through the streets of Konoha. Despite missing a limb, it was obvious he was armed to the teeth. The man walked past the Uzumaki household, stopping for a second. Then he turned and walked up to the door. He knocked on it with his only hand. There was shuffling behind the door before it opened to the smiling face and blue eyes of Himawari. She didn't seem to be looking to the door. "Papa, welcome home!" When she finally looked, she stopped and reacted by jumping back in an embarrassed way. She looked at the man and cleared her throat, but before she could talk, he lifted his hand as a hello. "Sorry to bother you so late. I'm a friend of your father's. Is he home?" The young girl lost her embarrassed look, which was replaced by a moderately sad look. "Oh, sorry, sir. Papa is at his office, probably." The man nodded his head, noticing the jacket on her. He gave her a warm look before turning away to leave. Thanks anyway. As he started walking away, Himawari was left wondering which of her father's friends this man could be. On his own, the man walked off and headed to the Hokage's office. When he got there, he took view of the office's disarray. Papers were everywhere, a dozen or so empty coffee mugs, all in all a big mess. And the biggest mess of all was the man behind the desk, his face pale and sweaty, definitely having overworked himself. As the visitor's eyes met the tired and overworked Hokage, all he could muster was a sigh of what could best be described as disappointment and pity. Good grief. And here I thought you would never grow tired. I used too much chakra. Hinata's gonna have my ass tonight. I'm guessing this can't wait until morning? Naruto complained while joking, making light of his poor condition. The visitor could only shake their head, pulling out a scroll from under their cowl. I figured this would be of importance. This scroll is something I found researching Kaguya's dimension. I'd hazard to say it's something to do with the Otsutsuki. Naruto suddenly looked far more serious. He grabbed the scroll, but only found its insides to be encrypted. though in his usual style, he attempted to make light of the situation. Thank you, because I needed another thing to worry about. Right, Sasuke? The man, Sasuke, would just sigh and hold his face in his palm. You're really just not funny. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has got you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, then I'd like to extend you an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being that we only accept members from 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching, and have a great day.